Welcome to Ogles channel. Thanks for watching today, and let's continue our journey to finish every single Game Boy Color game. And today we're focused on a game called Game & Watch Gallery Part 2 for the Game Boy Color. Now, I never had this particular one growing up. I did have Game & Watch Gallery Part 1, as well as like one of the original Game & Watch systems. I got it at a yard sale for like $1 back in college. But regardless, I never had Game & Watch Gallery Part 2, so all of these games are brand new to me. And honestly, the modernization of them is pretty darn fun. But we're going to dive all into that into the review itself. But this video actually got moved up in the queue a little bit because one of our followers, Anastasia Jermala, if I'm saying that correctly, requested it on one of my earlier videos. I cover this sooner than later, so naturally I moved it up in the queue. If there's a game that you would like to see me cover sooner than later, let me know the name of that game in the comments down below. And just like this game, I'll move it way up in the queue and get to it as soon as possible. But let's go ahead and dive into Game & Watch Gallery Part 2. Now, I always like to start the videos off by looking at the box art for the game. And the box art for Game & Watch Gallery 2 here, it summarizes it completely perfectly here. It has a little screenshot of all 5 games that are included. It even says 5 games in one, even though it's technically 6, but they don't want to give away the hidden secret game, I guess, on the cover here. But all the graphics are very colorful, very pretty, same as they are in the actual game. And we're going to get to all these individual games as we go. But I mean, the cover sums it up really well as far as like what to expect with all these little mini games that are coming at you. Now, when you start the actual game up here, Mario's going to rise from the bottom of the screen on a little platform coming up like a true game show host for a pretty charming, flashy little intro. And he's going to give you 2 options. You can either play the game or you can view the gallery. And I do look at the gallery first, but like I've unlocked nothing. And so as you play through the actual game, more and more things get unlocked as far as like little screenshots from old Game & Watch games, or like little hints that you can use, or like actual extra games. I mean, there's a lot of little cool stuff you can unlock inside the gallery. I've just not done it yet. And so we're going to go to the main game here. When you go to the main game, you have 5 games that you can choose from. You can either do Parachute, Helmet, Chef, Vermin, or Donkey Kong. And I'm just going to sort of go in order here for the most part until I unlock the special game. And so I start off with Parachute. And when you load the game up, there are actually 4 different options that you can choose from. You can either do Modern or you can do Classic. And on each one of those modes, you can do Easy or Hard. And the game is going to modify a little bit on the difficulty, but it's going to modify quite a bit on Modern versus Classic. Modern is going to be like updated graphics as far as like putting more Nintendo characters in there, making it more colorful, more charming. And Classic is going to be pretty much just the original Game & Watch game itself. And some of those are going to get a little bit on the rough looking side. So the moderns are definitely going to be the more fun ones. And so we start off with the modern version, Easy on Parachute. Now, the game itself is actually really simple to play. Basically, Mario's in a little boat down here at the bottom of the screen, and his job is just simply to catch all the little Nintendo characters that are going to fall down from the airship. The airship they're being launched out of. And they're going to fall a little bit faster. Like Toad opens his parachute pretty quickly and he glides down pretty slowly. Yoshi sort of does a random opening, like sometimes he opens fast, sometimes he opens slow his parachute. You have to sort of watch out for him, he's sort of a wild card. And there's Donkey Kong Jr. who comes like really fast and doesn't open his parachute until like the very last moment. You have to get your boat under him to catch him pretty much at a moment's notice. So that's the one you really have to, like, when you see him coming down, go for him, catch him like almost immediately, drop everything. But also, like, the characters can go over to like the little cannon. The cannon can shoot them out. When it shoots them out, they're not going to have a parachute and they're going to fall a whole lot faster. And your job is, like I said, just simply to catch all of them inside your boat. Now, if you miss one, you lose a life, and also the big fish is going to come by and sort of try to gulp them up and, you know, run them off the screen. Now, occasionally, if they hit the top of the fish, they will bounce up. You have like a little extra chance there if you missed them. But for the most part, the game's just sort of a monitoring situation. You sort of monitor all the characters that are coming down and just sort of keep an eye on it. It's basically, how well are you able to multitask, honestly, because you're having to keep up with so many things and you're sort of keeping a track of them all at once. And that's really true to like every Game & Watch gallery, but in particular this one. And after 100 points, you get like a little Yoshi egg that gives you a bonus. You can either get like a star, which gives you extra points, or you can get like a little Boo, which tries to attack you inside the game. I actually never got to Boo, so I don't actually know if it punishes you or not. I just sort of assumed that it did. It did take me a few tries to actually get like pretty good at the game, and like my high score was like 400 and something, and I realized when I got 400 points that it awarded me with 2 stars inside the gallery. And I thought, okay, you're collecting stars, which unlocks things inside the gallery, but also are stars connected in any form or fashion? Like, you have to collect all the stars in order to win the game. How many do you have to have in order to get the credits to roll? So I did Google it and I looked it up, and you have to have 50 stars in order for the credits to roll in the game. So our goal here is going to get 50 stars throughout the entire experience across all of these mini games. And we've got 2 of the 50 so far, so 48 more to go. So I go back into the parachute game. I tried on hard mode, and truth be told, it's like almost exactly the same game, except there's going to be way more Yoshis and way more Donkey Kong Juniors, which of course throws off the momentum of the game. You have to have way faster reactions. This one was a good bit more difficult. Like the first few times I was getting like 40, 50, I moved slowly into 100s, and eventually I was able to get enough scores to get, I think it was like 436 is what I wrote down. But regardless, it was enough to get me 2 more stars, so now I only need 46 more to go. So I go back into the parachute again, I go to the classic mode, and just like I said earlier in the video here, it's going to go back to the original Game & Watch graphics, and they're not anywhere near as pretty, they're not anywhere near as charming, but they are very much of a retro look. And so if you enjoyed the original Game & Watch games, then yeah, you'll probably enjoy this particular mode. But I do prefer the modernized version. But regardless, this mode is way easier. There's not like a lot of speed variations between like Yoshi's and Donkey Kong Juniors and Toads, or like a cannon thing to really throw you off. It's very much straightforward. I'd actually say this mode is a good bit easier because you sort of have to watch the simply the 3 that are coming down and just sort of time them right. And I'd actually say it's more boring, yes, but it is definitely easier. I got like 600 and something, and so therefore I got 3 stars for this one because you get 1 star for every 200 points. And I go back into it and try hard mode on the classic, and they do mix it up a little bit because now one of the parachute like gets hung in the tree, and that's going to throw off the timing a little bit. And I wasn't able to get as high a score, but I was able to finally get like 400, and so I was able to get 2 more stars unlocked. And so I'm not like really playing every one of these games to get like the absolute max score. I'm just sort of playing them a little bit in order to collect some stars to see if I can get all 50 stars if I happen to like, you know, get a super high score on any of these games. And it's not like I'm saying I don't want to get a super high score, like it's just simply that my skill level is not quite up to par to get like, you know, 1,000, 2,000 points on any of these particular mini games. Now I did unlock the little thing in the gallery here where I have the ability to go in like a little music room, and it has like a cool little scene of like Mario and friends playing some of the music in like a band room. And I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, all these little bells and whistles that unlock when you get the stars, and then it gives you incentive to not only collect the stars to get the credits to roll, but also to sort of see what secrets are hidden inside the gallery. And so I like games that continually reward you as you go instead of just simply playing the game endlessly. And then I go ahead and move into the helmet game, and the helmet game is like legit a pretty cool looking game here. You have Koopa Troopa in the top, and he's throwing down all these little hammers and occasionally a spiked ball at you as well. And Mario just simply moves left to right. You hop on this little P block here, and then coins will appear on the stage, and you just simply collect the coins while avoiding the hammers, and eventually another little P block will appear. You hop on that, more coins will appear, continue to avoid the hammers, and the game just sort of continues on from there. But the one little trick part of it here is you can actually go off to the door on the right, and it pushes you back on the left hand side. And it's really helpful, like if you ever need just like a quick little break or a quick little escape mechanism, go through that door, and it's a nice little I don't know, a little bit of a breather as you're going through the level here. Now after you get, I think it's 500 points to actually change the environment, and then you go like to a little outside world here, and like Shy Guy, he's throwing out all these little spiked bombs at you, or spiked balls at you, and there's also like little cannons, I guess, they're sort of dropping them as well. This part here is a good bit harder than the Koopa Troopa in the sky throwing them down, but at least they changed the environment, which I think is pretty cool. I know in the parachute level they sort of kept the same environment the entire time, where in this one they're actually mixing it up. Now I can't say for sure the parachute level doesn't change it up. Maybe I didn't get a high enough score, but this level I know for a fact changes it up, and I actually do appreciate that quite a bit. I think my high score on this one was like 600 and something, which got me 3 more stars. I did go ahead and move into the hard mode, and the hard mode actually added in like an extra little obstacle that was being thrown down at you. It's like a little, I guess sort of bluish green flame. It's really slow, and so you have to sort of time your movements a little bit to make sure you get out of the way of the fast ones or the slow ones. And it's like the parachute game. You sort of have to be a monitor of the situation and really just monitor the overall screen. On hard mode, I was not able to get to the Shy Guy level part, and I think I maxed out at like 400 and something, which gave me 2 more stars. But I did notice something in the hard mode here that I've not noticed in any of the other Game Boy games, like I've played it all. This game had a definite slowdown in hard mode. I'm not sure if there's just so many sprites on the screen at once, you know, like the fast hammers coming down, the slow little flames, the little spiked balls, the P block, the money. I mean, maybe there was just so much going on the screen at once, like the game couldn't handle it, but there was a massive slowdown on hard mode, and it actually probably helped me, but so I'm not complaining, but there was a slowdown for this particular one. But then I went on into classic mode here, and I did easy first of all. And when I said easy, like my gosh, this original Game & Watch game is very easy. Instead of having like hammers coming down or like spiked balls, it's more going to be, well, I guess it is still like an old retro, just an ordinary hammer. And as far as like buckets coming down and wrenches and screwdrivers, and they're all trying to attack you as they come down, but they're coming down very slow, and man, you can almost like stay in one column for a prolonged period of time. And it's just simply continuing to rack up your points here. You don't have to actually collect any coins, you just simply have to stay alive. And this one's like I said, it's really easy. The door on the right that you can go through doesn't stay open like it did in the modern version, so you have to sort of time when the door is open and the door is shut. But this one was way easier. I got my highest score so far on any of the games. I got 800 points, which is going to be 4 stars inside the game. And after I got this, they unlocked an extra game mode. And this Game & Watch game is going to be the ball game. And I only get the classic mode. I don't get the modern mode yet. And the classic mode, you basically just simply have the little fella here, and he tosses balls back and forth, and you're just simply juggling the balls, and you move your hands left and right to catch the balls. On easy mode, there's only 2 that are going back and forth. And man, it's like, it's not hard, but it's just boring. And so I didn't play it too long because it was just taking literally forever to finally like get a high score. But then I tried the hard mode, and the hard mode actually moved you up every single time by 10 points. And so I was like, holy cow, I can get a whole lot of points really fast because, like I said, this game is pretty darn easy. And you do have 3 balls, juggling back and forth. And because this was increasing so much at a time, I was able to get over 800 points, which is once again one of my highest scores inside the game. And so those star collecting is happening pretty darn fast at this point. But once I finished up the classic mode on the ball game here, I went back to the classic hard mode on helmet to try that one out. And it was pretty much exactly the same as the easy mode, except the door on the right opened and closed way more quickly. And so it was a little more difficult to get in there. But man, this one was just going to take so long because you simply were waiting the timeout. I only ended up going through and getting 1 more star off of it. It just really wasn't my favorite as far as like, I guess fun wise. It was definitely one of the easiest ones, but it wasn't my favorite as far as like entertainment, especially for the classic mode here. But then I decided to load up the chef minigame, and holy cow, this is the best minigame in the entire selection. I love this minigame because you have a Luigi over on the left hand side, and he's tossing, you know, some different food items up like a fish or a steak, or like sausage or an egg, and they're coming in the air. And then you're Princess Peach over here, and you have your little skillet, and you're catching these items on your skillet, and you're cooking them a little bit, and you're tossing them up in the air, and basically you're trying to cook the items in your skillet, and then you're going to try to, you know, position yourself, basically turn around and let those items fall into Yoshi's mouth once they're cooked, and you get a lot of points for the cooked items. Now Yoshi can eat the uncooked items, but they don't get as many points for it, and so it's encouraging you to basically cook every item that comes up, and it turns purple when you know it's cooked, and you know it's ready for Yoshi's appetite. But this minigame here is like, it's just a ton of fun as far as like balancing all the different things that are coming about, when items are coming out, turning Princess Peach around, trying to catch the individual items, when to feed Yoshi, when they're cooked. There's just so much going on in this particular minigame, but it's like, it all just makes sense. Like this minigame just like really clicked for me. And I'm not sure why, I really do enjoy that Overcooked game on the PlayStation. Me and my wife played that a great deal when it came out, so I do enjoy, I guess, cooking simulator games. So they may play like a little part into it, but there's something about this game that just like really captivated me. I actually played this one all the way until I get 1,000 points because like I enjoy it so much. Let's just go ahead and max it out here. So I would get all 5 stars out of this one, and when I did that, I unlocked the modern mode for the ball game. Now the modern mode for the ball game is definitely like better graphics, more charm. You're playing as Yoshi here, and you're basically trying to catch the little Yoshi eggs that are coming out. And it's actually pretty darn hard to position your hands just right, at least at first anyway. You do get the hang of it as you're going, but man, I died like so many times at the start here, just trying to catch these eggs. And once you do finally master it, it's a little bit easier, but still, I only went through this game mode here. I only got 1 star on each of them. And I will say, like, the music in this particular game is phenomenal. It's one of the best soundtracks inside the entire game. However, this particular mini game, whether it's the original classic ball game or this ball game, I just can't really say I enjoy them a whole lot. The classic one was easy. This one was really difficult, but I just really don't like this particular mini game. But once I'm done with the modernized version of the ball game, I go back to Chef. I try it on hard mode, and they really do up difficulty on the hard mode here. Instead of the items just simply bouncing straight up and down on your skillet, now they bounce like left and right, and so it's a whole lot more to keep up with. The game itself is still a lot of fun, and at some point I may go back and try to get like all 5 stars on this particular one, but I did call it quits after getting to 400-ish points, and so I got 2 stars out of it. But this was significantly more difficult because items are coming from both sides of the screen, they're bouncing off in different directions here, and it's just a lot to keep up with, but it's still the best game in the entire little series here. Then I tried Classic Mode, and Classic Mode was less fun, but it wasn't a bad game. You're just simply bouncing the different foods as you're dropping down off your little skillet. And if you play on Easy Mode, it's 3 different foods. If you play on Hard Mode, it's 4. And it's not like necessarily like a whole lot more difficult, but it's just simply less fun. And if you miss it, a little mouse comes along, like captures the food, runs off of it, and it's okay. And I think I got like 2 stars on each one of them. I know I got 2 stars in the hard mode. I didn't document what I got on easy mode, but I think it's like 2 stars on each. And then I move into the second best game in this entire little packet here, which is gonna be the Vermin game. And both the original and the modernized version are really good here. But the modernized version, you're basically playing as Yoshi. You have your Yoshi eggs around you here, and different Shy Guys and Koopa Troopas and Boos are gonna try to come up and crack your eggs. And if they crack it 3 different times, that particular egg dies, and then of course the game is over. But as Yoshi, you have this little hammer, and you're going around. You basically just simply use your hammer to knock these little guys off your eggs. And it gets pretty darn hectic the further you go into the game here, because they are like coming out of the woodworks trying to get to these eggs, and you're going around just simply bashing them back left and right. And I think I got like 600 on the easy, 300 or 400 on the hard. It got pretty hard on the hard mode just because they were coming out so fast here. And that was the only thing that really changed a whole lot. In the classic mode, this is actually probably one of the best classic mode games in the series, because you basically have these little moles that are coming up, and there's just something that like made sense as far as like how my brain worked. As the moles were coming up, it was just really easy to get left and right, you know, bash the moles that are coming up and just predict where they're going to come from. And I actually like the classic Vermin probably better than any other classic game in the entire series here. The modernized version, second best. The modernized version was not as high up because the chef game is going to beat it out. But the classic mode here, I really like the classic mode Vermin. And I was able to get a few more stars by collecting points as well. And at this point I have 46 stars, so I only need 4 more stars in order to finish the game up here. And I'm going into the final mini game, which is going to be Donkey Kong. And I was actually pretty excited because I thought it was going to be like the original arcade Donkey Kong. And it's not that, but it's similar to that. And I definitely prefer the original arcade Donkey Kong over this particular one. But let's talk about the modern version first. Now the modern version, you're basically playing as Mario in this little, I guess, factory area. And these barrels are coming down. And if you jump over a barrel and sort of hang on to the top, you do get 1 point. But if the barrel bursts and you land on the Koopa Troopa, you get like 5 points for that. But your main goal here is simply to get to the top where Donkey Kong is holding Princess Peach. You pull the lever and it has these little platforms that appear. You hop on the platform, ride the platform to the top, and then get on the top where Donkey Kong is at. He will collapse down. You get like 20 or 30 points for that. And your goal here is to continue to work your way all the way to the top, pull that lever, and continue to get Donkey Kong to fall down. And it gets pretty darn hard. Like after 3 or 4 times making Donkey Kong fall, the platforms that you're supposed to jump on disappear really fast. They go really fast. And this minigame here was just a really difficult minigame for me to ever get good at. Truth be told, it's a difficult minigame for me to like even understand for a while. But after a few rounds of this, you'd go to a second stage, and it's gonna be like an outside jungle. And the outside jungle, I never could even like figure out how to get to the secondary platform to get up to Donkey Kong to get the extra bonus points. And so I ended up like just running the clock out, hopping over barrels, and just simply getting my points that way. And after I got like 200 points, I was like, you know what, 1 star, good to go. I'm just gonna do 1 star on modern easy, modern hard, classic easy, classic hard. Finished the game up this way. But the modernized Donkey Kong, it just didn't like click with me, and I just really couldn't ever get a good pattern down. And so I just basically got the bare minimum for this one. However, as much as I disliked the modern version, I actually disliked the classic version even more, because it was evidently a 2-screen Game & Watch game. So there's a large screen at the bottom, the small screen at the top, and it just looks awful on the Game Boy here. And I don't like it. I don't like the way it plays. You have to hop over the little barrels, try to avoid the little beams above your head. Get to the top, pull a lever, wait for the little crane to come around with a hook on it, grab the hook, and it of course swings up there and pulls away one of the little blocks beside Donkey Kong, which gives you some extra bonus points. And when you pull all of them, Donkey Kong falls. You get like 20 points. And this one here, on easy and hard, I found it extraordinarily difficult to finally get up to the top, do all the little mechanisms, and continue to jump over barrels as I'm going. And the longer you take, the faster the barrels get. And man, this one was just like really, really difficult, and I never felt like I really mastered it. But I was able to get 200 points on both of the classic modes, both of the modernized modes, and that gives me 50 stars total. And then of course the credits begin to roll. And the credits are pretty cool here. You got all the little Mario characters flying their little airplanes or different air vehicles as they're coming around as the credits are going across. A good little closing video as well as some good closing music. And at the very end it does say to be continued, because I guess they already had intentions of making Game & Watch Gallery Part 3, which as far as I know is the last in the entire series. but I don't know if they ever actually continue with like the Game Boy Advance or not, but I know there's only 3 for the Game Boy Color. But how is this game as an overall? I sort of divided up into 2 separate parts here. The modernized versions of all of these classic Game & Watch games, they're all pretty great as far as like updating the graphics, giving you a lot of charm behind them, good music at the same time, enough variety in the game to sort of mix it up a little bit, enough power-ups, different ways to like reset and get extra lives, the stars to actually earn things inside like the gallery. All of that is done like super well, and I actually really enjoyed most of the mini games. I can't say I enjoyed the Donkey Kong one very much, but all the other ones were really good, and especially like the Chef and the Vermin. Those were like top-notch games. And truth be told, I sort of think the style of game like continues to live on like in the Mario Party games, because they're all like mini games inside the Mario Party, and these are mini games. Obviously the focus is different in the Mario Party versus this, but I tend to think the style of game continues to live on in that type of series. But looking back at this particular game, like I said, the modernized versions are fantastic. The classic mode versions, they're sort of hit and miss. Some of them are pretty lousy, some of them are just pretty average, and only one of them was like actually really fun, and that was the Vermin one. And even that one, it would get old after a little while. These games are very much of a shoot for a high score. There's not a lot of variety in it. There's not a lot of things to mix it up. And there's no music in the classic mode either, which really sort of hinders the enjoyment of actually playing that particular mode. However, if you don't really enjoy the classic modes, you can complete this entire game on modern only. You can collect as many stars as you need with modern version only, and you can see the credits rolled by just doing the modern version. Now you're going to have to get really good at the modern games to get that to happen. But if you just simply want to play the new versions with the better graphics, more gameplay options, you most certainly can do that. Maybe one day I'll go back and try to, get all 5 stars on each one of these games. But for now, I'm pretty satisfied just simply seeing the credits. And I really do look forward to the Game & Watch Gallery Part 3. Part 1 I had as a kid, and it was okay. I don't remember having like super fond memories of it. I remember like the little octopus game where he come out and like grab Mario in his little, underwater suit, or a scuba suit or whatever. But I don't have like super fond memories of it. It was sort of an average game to me. But I am really looking forward to part 3 as far as like what kind of bonus stuff to put in there. It's more of the modernized versions such as that. But overall, a fun game that I would suggest you check out if you enjoy Mario Party or just mini games in general. But is there a game that you would like to see me cover sooner than later? Let me know the name of the game in the comments down below, and I'll move it up on the queue just like I did Game & Watch Gallery Part 2. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out other videos listed up above, and go out there, find a great game to play. Just simply have a great rest of the day.